This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 6 o'clock, a neighborhood on edge this morning as Metro Police are looking for an arsonist. The new information, we're learning about two fires set just a block apart earlier this week.
And also this morning, the 4th of July celebrations will continue into the weekend. The big plea from police departments across our state not to call 911 to report those firework violations.
It is 6 o'clock here on your Friday morning. Thanks for ending your week with us, starting your day, ending your week. I'm Meredith Barrick.
I'm Rafael Sanchez, filling in for the talented Lauren Casey, who is back on Monday. It is Friday, July the 5th. What a great day in Central Indiana. It is Friday, as you mentioned. Yes, the weekend is here.
Yeah, a lot of people lucky, though. You might be waking up now having a long weekend.
Yeah.
This could be a day 2 of your 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
So, hey, nothing wrong
We're
with
just
that.
getting going with that Thursday holiday, right? You have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for many of you. More of the same here today, and that's the heat, the humidity, and the chance of storms. Yesterday, we lucked out. Only a couple of them flared up across Central Indiana. I think today they'll be a little more numerous, and already this morning we have some heavy rain and some lightning here from Brazil down towards the Clay City area. This is impacting Interstate 70 there, so you'll definitely have to slow down between Terre Haute and the Brazil area. Terre Haute, you're basically done with the rainfall now as the storm just slowly drifts its way off towards the east, but it's heading over there towards Raccoon Lake. So you'll have a little early morning wake-up call with some thunder and lightning and some rain. But other than that, all the rest of Central Indiana is completely dry. But we're starting to get into a more active pattern. Today, the storms will just be these isolated storms that flare up in the peak heating of the day, but then the front will come through tomorrow, and that's going to give us some better rain chances, unfortunately, for your Saturday. So this morning, with the exception of a stray downpour or two, partly cloudy skies. We warm up really quickly, already about 86 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour. Then as we transition into the afternoon, the storms become a little more numerous. It's hot and it's humid with high temperatures right around 90 degrees.
All right, Todd, we are taking a live look right now at I-465 at Ditch Road. Apparently, not everyone is off work today. As you can see, there is some traffic making its way there on the north side. We will keep you updated should there be any other issues out on the roadways later this morning.
Hopefully those folks are heading on vacation, Meredith.
Yeah,
I mean, that is heavy traffic for a Friday. That's a lot of traffic for a 4th of July.
Oh, you're rewinding summer,
I'm rewinding. I thought it was Memorial Day, but it's a 4th of July weekend.
All right, Rafael. Well, the search continues for whoever started porch fires at 2 homes in downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah, those fires lit up the sky on Tuesday, and now those in that neighborhood, they want some action to be taken right now.
Yeah, our Aaron Lish is live with what neighbors are saying about these investigations. They're concerned they could be the next target, Aaron.
Yeah, and you can imagine this neighborhood is shaken up after 2 fires happened in mere blocks of each other. On top of it, it happened on the same night. So we spoke with an IFD spokesperson, and they told us these fires, they weren't accidental. They were actually intentional. And we were actually on scene as firefighters worked on the house fire on Pennsylvania Street. And then on that same night, they had the same type of porch fire on Talbot. And neighbors like Eric Patterson say they've been moving porch furniture to the back of the homes because rumors on social media say couch cushions were set on fire, and that's how these fires were getting started. He adds that they want more people to move into this neighborhood, but something like this really doesn't help.
You have things like this happen, it just feels a little scary to residents down here. But I think most people around here are pretty resilient. They understand what it means to live downtown, and I don't think one event like this is going to dissuade people from living down here.
One person was taken into custody and questioned by investigators that night of the fires, but they were released. Thankfully, no one was hurt. IFD is saying to make sure that you are checking your smoke alarms and also having an evacuation plan set if anything like this happens to you. We're going to have more from neighbors in the next half hour. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. Indianapolis is changing how it handles complaints about animals in trouble after a dog died chained up in its own backyard on the west side. A warning, some of these images we are about to show you may be difficult to look at. Jim Honeycutt called animal control 2 days last week after he noticed a neighbor's dogs tethered and tangled outside in the heat. About 90 minutes after calling on the second day, Jim saw one of the dogs flash on the ground and not moving. So So he messaged the dog's owner to come home, then called the Mayor's Action Center. By the time Animal Care Services responded 16 hours later, Flash was dead.
I was pretty angered that day. I was trying to, be as nice as I could. I was mowing the grass when the homeowner came by, and I gave him a few choice words. And so, I try to keep the peace. We got to live next door to them, but I think they know how I feel about this issue.
Call 6 Investigates took this case to the head of Animal Care Services. Katie Trennan-Pohl says Jim's first call to the city was characterized as a standard animal neglect run. When Jim called the city to say Flash wasn't moving, the Mayor's Action Center emailed an IACS supervisor to escalate the complaint rather than calling.
At the time that she got that email and updated the run status or priority to a higher priority, unfortunately the dog had already passed away. So we have had conversations with the Mayor's Action Center on how we can address that issue in a more timely manner.
The Mayor's Action Center released this statement regarding the case, quote, "At the time of the case creation, this email escalation was the correct protocol agreed upon by ACS. We are currently working with ACS to open other communication processes for these situations in the future."
The time now is 6:06. A reminder this morning, if your neighbors are not obeying firework ordinances, please do not call 911. Like many dispatch centers across the country, the center in Johnson County is overwhelmed with non-emergency calls this time of year. If lines are busy with fireworks complaints, as you can imagine, it takes time away from true emergencies. And in those situations, minutes can be the difference between life and death.
You could be tying up a line for somebody else that is been in an accident, or their house is on fire, or a child's drowning in a pool. So we ask that you save the 911 lines for those type of calls, and then you can just call our non-emergency line.
And now non-emergency lines, they vary by city and towns and locations throughout Indiana. In Johnson County, the number is 317-346-6336. And in Marion County, you can call 311. And as we continue to celebrate the 4th of July this weekend, another reminder to think about those who served our country. Some veterans suffering from PTSD, they tell us that fireworks can be a trigger for them this time of year. So it's important to follow your local ordinances when it comes to setting off those fireworks, and check with your neighbors just to make sure that they're okay with your display.
Be careful how you're handling food, because according to health officials, foodborne illnesses are far more prevalent during this summertime. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. Alyssa, why do doctors see a spike in food poisoning this time of year, and what can we all do to stay safe?
So there's a few things that people can do to stay safe, Meredith, but the two main reasons that we do see that spike is due to the warmer weather. That's the first reason. It's easier for that bacteria to build when it's this warm outside. And the second reason is because more people are cooking outside and grilling out. So they're not handling their food as safely as they would if they were inside a kitchen. Now, one of the best ways to stay safe is to make sure you're not leaving meat sit out for too long before you're cooking it, especially when you're doing that grilling outside. And when you do cook it, make sure that it's to the right temperature. There are a few commonly contracted foodborne illnesses in the summer months, including bacteria-based like Salmonella, viruses like Neurovirus, and a parasite like Cryptosporidium. The CDC estimates about 48 million people get food poisoning each year, and almost 130 of those people need to be hospitalized. That's why health professionals say when it comes to contracting these illnesses, it's all about prevention.
Washing all of your cooking surfaces down after you've handled meat in particular, or fresh vegetables even, making sure that you're separating your meats from your vegetables, washing your surfaces down afterwards with hot soapy water, and cooking them to the right temperature.
I'm really not sure. Now, if you are at a picnic or a barbecue, the rule of thumb is to toss food if it's sat out for more than 2 hours. However, if the temperature is warmer than 90 degrees like it has been, health professionals say it's better to toss that within an hour. Now, of course, we all know the symptoms of food poisoning: vomiting, diarrhea, fever, and dehydration. And those health professionals say that if you are dehydrated, you can't keep fluids down, and your fever spikes to more than 102 degrees. degrees, that's when you need to go to the emergency room or see your doctor. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Great information to have this time of year. Alyssa, thank you so much. This morning, a tribute to one of the survivors of the 2012 fatal Southside explosion. After covering that story now for 7 years, you get to know the people and their stories following the convictions and the recovery of that Southside Indianapolis neighborhood. Yesterday, one homeowner, a patriarch with a special knack with Legos, passed away. And today, family and neighbors remember him well. Dale Bear had a knack for turning Lego pieces into masterpieces. After becoming ill, he turned to the squares and rectangles and circles to maintain the mobility in his hands. It helped while he snapped together Buckingham Palace and its 3x7 skyline. It kept him focused while the White House and the Capitol building went up. He was driven to complete this Porsche, which came with 500 pages of instructions and 1,580 pieces. In 2012, Dale was among the survivors of the Richmond Hill explosion. Though his home is across the street, he'll tell you he slept through the blast. Once he woke up, his priority was his wife and family that lived nearby and getting them to safety. Dale was big on family. Like the Ferris wheel he built, with 2,463 parts, he embraced life's ups and downs. The ups, his wife of nearly 46 years, his 2 daughters, and his 4 grandchildren. The man who mastered assembling blocks of all colors and sizes to keep sharp and healthy was at the center of his own magic kingdom. All enjoyed his multiple layouts of Legos, and no one doubted his loyalty and his love. Dale would have celebrated his 65th birthday this month, July the 18th. His funeral arrangements are still pending. The time now is 6:12. Let's check in your forecast now with Todd. Another hot and humid day in central Indiana. Todd?
Yeah, we're climbing to near 90 degrees once again, Raphael, with that humidity that'll be around as well. That's going to make it feel even a little bit warmer. As far as storms go, it's dry across most of central Indiana with the exception of this one real heavy downpour that's just really slowly been making its way off towards the east out of Terre Haute this morning. Prairie City right now, you notice a lot of lightning here. Here's Interstate 70. That's impacted as well by this downpour as it drifts slowly off towards the east. Brazil, lighter rainfall, so most of the heavy rainfall is just south of I-70 right now, but this is making its way through northern portions of Clay and soon to be Owen County. As far as the rest of central Indiana, again, it's dry to start off the day. We'll build in additional isolated storms later on this afternoon with high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. 90 degrees in Indianapolis, just a little bit warmer in the city. It's going to feel like it's in the low 90s, though. And as far as baseball this evening, fireworks again at Victory Field. Tonight, first pitch is at 7:15. Any isolated storms that are out there will start to fade, so I would not let the storm threat cancel your plans to head to Victory Field or anything else outdoors here throughout the day today. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you then, Todd. A journey to start a new career in the IT field. Next in Hiring Hoosiers, how My Computer Career is putting students on the fast track to get a new job. That's coming up.
Hiring Hoosiers, our initiative here at RTV6 aimed at connecting you to new employment opportunities, job training, resources, and the resources to help you build on your career or to start a new one, right?
And right now, skilled workers in IT and cybersecurity are in high demand. RTV6's Nicole Griffin shows us one veteran's journey to start a new career after attending My Computer Career.
Robert Felvis enlisted in the U.S. Army in 2011. He served for 4.5 years, and during that time, he was deployed to Afghanistan.
I was assigned to the night shift on our radar. It gave me a lot of time to think, and it kind of led towards the spiral downwards.
He was experiencing a number of personal issues. After serving out his contract, he made the choice to go into the reserves and get the help he needed.
Shortly after being enrolled in the VA, that they told me about My Computer Career.
Last year, he decided to enroll. My Computer Career is geared toward helping people, especially veterans, start a new career.
We have military students that are, coming out of the military, that are making the adjustment into civilian life.
Students at My Computer Career have the chance to earn 9 certifications in their IT and cybersecurity program. It takes just 7 to 10 months to complete. Paul Wolf, the Indy campus director, says the skills these students are learning are in high demand.
Obviously, we see it on the news all the time. Hospitals and different networks being hacked, and people are finding themselves vulnerable.
On campus, they have a monitor that shows cyber threats happening all across the world right now. This is an effort to remind students just how important the skills they are learning really are.
The demand has picked up. Companies want to protect themselves.
As for Felvis, he's completed most of his certifications and now has a job working alongside students at My Computer Career. He's a lab assistant and teacher's aide. He has a message for other veterans looking to start a new career in the IT field.
Come here, find a family, find people that care about you.
Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
Nicole, thank you. My Computer Career is approved to use the GI Bill for funding. It allows for people who are in the military, active duty or not, to take courses and utilize funding they are getting from the military.
And for more information on how you could apply, head to our website, hiringhoosiers.com. And be sure to join us Monday on Good Morning Indiana as we look at 2 local people who came together to fill a void in the phone technology industry. That's Monday right here on Good Morning Indiana.
All right, when you think of the 4th of July, you likely think of enjoying the pool or the lake, but for some people out in Utah, they actually got the chance to hit the slopes. And I'm reading this story because these 2 couldn't contain themselves last time. There is still enough snow out in Snowbird, Utah for people to enjoy some 4th of July skiing, but they didn't wear their winter coats or hats. They were in t-shirts, shorts, and bathing suits for some people, because it was only about 44 degrees at the top of the mountain. But skiers out there say it felt much warmer than that. Yesterday marked the 191st day of Snowbird's season, the 3rd longest on record, with 711 inches of snow.
Sensor alert, that's okay.
Hey, she has to get her suntan in.
It was only her, it was the guy too who I think had his underwear on, right? But,
there you go.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't see that the first time around. Oh, me alive.
I'm an equal opportunity censor.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah, it's pretty good, though, to be skiing here in July. A lot of times the spring skiing is all you get. So, yeah, if you're a big ski fan, that's pretty cool to do on the 4th of July. All right. Outside right now, we're dealing with this one downpour making its way through central Indiana with some heavy rainfall as well near Center Point in Indiana State Road 42 and I-70 there. And then as we slide a little bit further to the north up towards Brazil, back towards Terre Haute, we're dealing with a little bit of a lighter rainfall. And then there's that one heavier downpour to the north. And this storm system is just sliding off to the east very, very slowly. So there's some lightning, but the biggest impact would be some heavy rainfall, especially if you're traveling on I-70. And eventually this is going to make it towards the Cloverdale area as we get closer to about 6:45 here this morning. But that's the only game in town as far as storms go. Everybody else is enjoying partly cloudy skies here this morning. But as we work our way throughout the day, Storm Team 6 radar is going to become pretty active once again with these downpours that are just going to flare up during the peak heating of the day. So this afternoon and early this evening, if you have plans, you kind of need to be a little bit weather aware here as these storms will really start to blossom anytime, I would say, after about 2 o'clock. They're spotty once again, so not everybody is going to see these storms, but as they flare up, if you do heavy rainfall, some lightning, it's not out of the question as some of these storms start to weaken and collapse that you could get a brief period of some gusty winds as well. So can't completely rule out the chance of a severe thunderstorm warning at some point throughout the day today, but I think it's more heavy rain and lightning that's the issue. And then once the sun starts to set, all the showers, they will start to fade away pretty quickly. Here's a live look. The American flag on this day after the 4th of July, and the Indians flag is up as well because they have a game tonight at 7:15. Temperatures this morning currently in the 70s anywhere you go across central Indiana, and throughout the day today, you will see temperatures climb to 88 degrees already by the noon hour. So it gets warm really, really quickly this morning, and then we level off right around 90 this afternoon as those storms start to build in. The humidity, though, is going to make make it feel even a little bit warmer. The last night for the 4th of July show up there at Symphony on the Prairie, always a great show and a big draw with the fireworks after. There could be an isolated storm to start, but again, as soon as the sun sets, everything kind of fades away, and then it's just warm and muggy this evening with temperatures that eventually fall back down into the 70s. For tomorrow, if you're heading out to Lake Monroe down there in southern Monroe County, 88 degrees, some scattered storms. Sunday's the better day with plenty of sunshine, lower humidity, and a temperature right around 85 degrees. And then to the north in Hamilton County, Noblesville, Cicero, Morris Reservoir, some scattered storms on Saturday, 87, 84 on Sunday, again with some lower humidity. So these storms tomorrow probably going to be a little more numerous. The past week we've really been dealing, and today included, just these isolated storms that flare up. Well, tomorrow a front comes through, so the storms do become a little more numerous for your Saturday, but there's a lot of dry hours mixed in as well. It's not a complete washout, so I wouldn't cancel the plans as of yet. But Monday starts a nice stretch of weather with lower humidity, lots of sunshine, and temperatures that'll be seasonable in the mid-80s. Meredith?
Todd, thank you. Today's jobs report could have major implications for the economy. It's expected to show the economy added 160,000 jobs in June. The unemployment rate should stay about the same. Wages should be up slightly. Here's why all this matters. The Fed could use today's report to decide whether to cut the federal interest rate. The work is already underway for the next NBA season. We are getting you set for the Pacers Summer League action this weekend coming up.
It feels like the NBA season just ended, but the work to get ready for next season is already well underway for the Indiana Pacers. Go Pacers! This morning, the team is in Las Vegas for the Summer League. The Summer League is a chance for the Pacers to get a look at their new draft picks along with other young players. The first game of the Las Vegas Summer League is set for this Saturday when the Pacers take on the Memphis Grizzlies. We hope that the Pacers are victorious. Let's go. Let's go. Pacers.
It's hard to believe, right? Summer League, and then by the time we get to October, they're going to be playing down at the Fieldhouse.
And then we play football, and then here we go again. But in the meantime, right, it's all about the heat, the humidity. Yeah, it's summer in Indiana.
A lot of summer to go here.
Right.
Today, we're up to near 90 degrees once again with some isolated storms that are going to flare up throughout the afternoon hours. A little better chance of more widespread storms as we go throughout the day tomorrow at 88. And then a nice stretch of weather really starting Sunday afternoon, going through much of next week with lower humidity, temperatures in the mid-80s, and lots of sunshine. Time now is 6:27. Stay with us. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
And Keller, right now.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is Friday, July the 5th. Eva Kor, a Holocaust survivor who called Indiana home, passes away while on a trip to Auschwitz. Now at 6:30, we're looking back at her legacy.
Plus, a near North Side neighborhood remains on high alert as police search for an arsonist. The new information we're learning about what may have ignited those fires.
Plus, as the long holiday weekend continues, your plans may involve firing up that grill. Ahead this morning, we're looking at the risks involved to eating and cooking outside. Just don't eat too much. There could be no other risk, right? I mean, if you're going to have some good bratwurst and chicken and pork chops and hamburgers and potatoes, I mean, what's wrong with all that? Good morning, Indiana. I'm Rafael Sanchez, filling in for Lauren Casey, and I'm hungry.
Apparently, and I'm Meredith Barrick, and I'm just here.
And I'm
always
Todd,
here.
and I'm still full from last night, too. Feeling a little snug here today.
I'm here to make sure these two stay in line today.
Oh, that always happens. We're never out of line.
I'm going to Zumba after this. I'm ready. Hey.
Oh my, you got to burn those calories to eat all that food you just listed off. All right, let's talk about today's forecast. A lot of people's 4th of July plans rolling on into today and throughout the weekend.
You know, it's very similar to basically every day this week. Hot, humid, with basically a daily chance of afternoon storms, and we're going to continue that into the day today. So you need to sunglasses. There's plenty of sunshine mixed in here throughout the day today, and drink plenty of water, as you can get dehydrated pretty quickly with this kind of heat and humidity if you're outside for an extended period of time. I didn't check the umbrella. I don't think you need to carry the umbrella all day, but you do need to know that there is the chance of some storms flaring up later on this afternoon if you are going to be out and about. But there's that hazy sunshine this morning with temperatures that are currently in the 70s across the area. We've had one storm. It's starting to weaken now, but still some decent rainfall here from Center Point towards Brazil. This is getting ready to head towards Cataract Falls and eventually towards the Cloverdale area, but that should continue to weaken and phase away this morning. Otherwise, it's partly cloudy, but additional storms, again, they'll flare up later on this afternoon as a front starts to make its way a little bit closer. The front really doesn't go through till tomorrow. So today we just manufacture these pop-up storms once again, but anytime after 2 o'clock, they will be possible with a high temperature today of 90 degrees.
All right, Todd, and a lot of people making their way in and out of the Circle City this morning. A surprising number of people out on this Friday after the 4th of July. This is a live look at I-465 at Ditch Road. You can see it looks like there is a car on the side of the road there, but no other issues to report at this hour. A lot of people will be traveling as it is a holiday weekend, so just make sure to give yourself some extra time.
The time now is 6:32. A neighborhood rattled after 2 homes are set on fire on the same night.
Indianapolis Fire responded to flames coming off of 2 porches just blocks away from each other on Tuesday. Our Aaron Lish is live with the latest in these investigations and what neighbors are saying about all of this. They are obviously concerned, Aaron.
Absolutely. It's a scary situation because no one has been arrested in either of these cases after we've learned that these 2 fires, they weren't on accident. They were intentionally set. So let me give you guys a little bit of a recap here. Indianapolis Fire started off over at a house on Pennsylvania Street on Tuesday night as they battled this porch fire. And this was only a few blocks away from another house fire on Talbot Street. And you are seeing what's left from these fires. IFD is estimating more than $100,000 in damages. And something scary to think about. You're inside your home and you're notified that someone's in your front steps in the middle of the night. That is exactly what happened for people living inside the home on Pennsylvania. They were warned about someone on their porch by their Ring doorbell. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but we did ask one neighbor if he feels safe where he lives.
Not really. I don't know. Like, there's not really much I can do. So it's kind of like, just do whatever I can to keep the house and everyone safe and hope for the best.
He's planning to leave porch lights on and even install one of those Ring doorbells to warn him if someone is at his house. If you know who did this or have any information on either of these arson cases, you are asked to call police at that number 317-262-TIPS. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. A public memorial will be held for a woman who survived the Holocaust, then dedicated her life to spreading the message to forgive but never forget. Eva Moses Kor died in Poland while on a trip that included the concentration camp where she was held as a child. She was 85 years old. Kor lived in Terre Haute and is well known in Indiana and across the world. She was taken to Auschwitz when she was just 10 years old. Her parents and 2 sisters were killed there. Kor's son says his mother continued to touch people until her very last day.
We were at Auschwitz and she told a very very moving speech at the selection platform, and somebody in the front was crying. And she said, "Why are you crying? You should be asked. I survived."
Thanks to Kor's efforts, a law requires history about the Holocaust to be taught in Indiana high schools. She's also known for opening the Candles Holocaust Museum in Terre Haute. Governor Eric Holcomb named Eva Kor the recipient of the state's highest honor, the Sachem Award, in 2017.
A special woman, a special Hoosier indeed. New overnight, an Evansville child is alive and safe after becoming stuck in a storm drain. The 5-year-old boy became stuck in the drain at the One Life Church on Lloyd Expressway around 9:15 Indianapolis time last night. It took crews about an hour to pull that boy out. We're told the boy fell in the drain while watching fireworks with his family. Authorities say the boy remained alert and talked to them throughout the rescue. He was taken to the hospital to be checked out.
Good outcome there. Well, one man is fighting for his life this morning following a water rescue in Cass County. The incident incident happened around 5 last night at France Park in Logansport. Witnesses say the man ran into the water from the beach, swam a short distance, then disappeared under the water. Good Samaritans pulled the man from the water and performed CPR until first responders arrived. The victim was airlifted to a Fort Wayne hospital. This morning, he's listed in critical condition.
It will be a moment. The memorial will be held this afternoon honoring a Metro police officer killed in the line of duty. A suspect shot and killed Officer Perry Wren on July the 5th, 2014. The ceremony in the officer's honor starts at 1:30 this afternoon at Crown Hill Cemetery, where Wren is buried. Mayor Joe Hogsett and Police Chief Brian Roach are scheduled to speak at the memorial event.
We're learning more about a man shot by Salem police while wielding a hammer. The shooting happened Wednesday at the Washington County Fairgrounds. Police say someone called to report 53-year-old Mark Noggle was messing with property. They arrived to find him with a hammer, and he was shot by an officer. Jean Longworth has lived across the street from the Washington County Fairgrounds for 50 years. She recalls a time when she would leave her doors unlocked and let her kids play outside until midnight, but now she's noticing more people and more drugs passing through the city. Longworth says the shooting leaves her feeling uneasy, and she wonders why police used deadly force when Noggle was only armed with a hammer.
I know the cops have got to take care of business, but you know, the cops have practiced to shoot to kill. Unless there is a weapon that can kill you, there seems there should be a better way of taking somebody down without taking their life.
Officers say they told Noggle to drop the hammer multiple times, but he did not, and he kept moving closer. The shooting is still being investigated. Neither of the officers have been identified by Indiana State Police, and both have been placed on administrative leave during the investigation.
The time now is 6:38. It is a great time to grill outdoors. More than 48 million people, though, get sick from foodborne illnesses every year, and health professionals say a majority of those who get sick get those illnesses during this time of year, the summer. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with how you can prevent catching one of those awful illnesses. Alyssa, we do not want to be on Pepto-Bismol or Imodium, so please help us be safe this season.
That's right, Rafael. You don't want those symptoms that come with food poisoning, and there's a few things that you can do to stay safe from that. One of them is food handling. Now, when you're doing that and you're cooking, especially when you're outside, you need to make sure that you're cleaning down all your surfaces first before you start the cooking process. Professionals say that you should also separate your meats and your vegetables, especially when you're grilling. That's one of the reasons we see a peak in food poisoning in the summer, is because of those outdoor cooking activities. The other reason is the warm weather. Bacteria can grow more easily and quicker in the heat. That warm weather also means more people are swimming in pools, and that is another way you can contract a foodborne illness called cryptosporidium from someone else who has already had it.
And if somebody has had diarrhea and they will continue even after it stops for 2 more weeks, shed that parasite from any stool or anything that's still either on their hands, I know that's nasty, or even from the rectal area.
Now, the other common foodborne illnesses this time of year are salmonella and neurovirus. Symptoms of food poisoning include vomiting, diarrhea, fever, and dehydration. Now, health professionals say if you have those symptoms and you can't keep fluids down and your fever hits 102 degrees, that's when you need to be concerned and go to the emergency room or see your doctor. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
All right, Alyssa, thank you very much. A generous act is drawing a lot of attention this morning. Just ahead in Good News Friday, how one girl earned a special honor from the Indianapolis Fire Department. That's coming up.
The Ashley Home Store, now open in Whitestone.
I love that music. We've reached the end of another long week, and that means it is time for the return of our favorite segment, Good News Friday.
Oh,
you like that?
Wow, yeah.
Okay.
Impressive. Well, during this segment of the show, we're bringing you nothing but positive and uplifting stories. And we begin this morning here locally with one little girl who is already making a difference.
The Indianapolis Fire Department tweeted these pictures yesterday of 5-year-old Annalise Espinosa. They say that Annalise decided to bring bottles of water to firefighters battling a house fire on the 4th of July.
The fire department wanted to thank and honor Annalise for her kind gesture, so they presented her with a Battalion Chief Challenge coin. Way to go, Annalise. And oh, she is awfully cute, Raphael.
She is adorable. She should get a tour of RTV6 on top of that.
Yeah,
we should
come
invite
on
her.
over.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. A man is alive this morning thanks to the quick reactions of a complete stranger. So you see, Nate Howard was out shopping with his wife in Maine when he noticed an older man fall to the ground in front of him. That man was having a heart attack. So Nate, he jumped into action. He started CPR right away as others around him called 911. Paramedics soon arrived and were able to save that man's life. Thumbs up indeed. They say if Nate had not jumped into action, that man would likely have died. Nate is now encouraging everyone he knows to learn CPR.
Such a good skill to have, and it is easy to learn. Very easy to learn.
Come on, easy to do.
All right, she wowed them with science, Raphael.
Why not, right? This morning, there's a new winner of the Miss Virginia pageant, and she decided to do something a little different during the talent portion of the competition.
Wow.
What is that?
Well, why don't you tell him, Raphael?
24-year-old Camille Shirer is a biochemist, and she demonstrated some explosive chemistry. I'm sorry.
Raphael is just fascinated by that.
Wow.
Well, Camille is a doctor of pharmacy student at Virginia Commonwealth University and demonstrated the catalytic decomposition of hydrogen peroxide as her talent. You know, that casual thing you do after work each day. Well, that paid off big time as she was named Miss Virginia.
You know, I need to come back more often and just learn how to read. You can look for more of her competition in the Miss America pageant this September. Way to go, but hopefully you will not beat out Miss Indiana. We like Virginia, but we prefer Indiana.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
We have to be loyal.
I'm just saying.
All right, well, a stray dog now has a forever home after a pretty unusual story. It started when a Nevada State Trooper, highway trooper that is, was working in Reno last month. That's when a stray German Shepherd walked up to Trooper Freeman and wouldn't leave his side. The trooper contacted animal control, who came and got the dog and checked to see if it was microchipped or lost. Well, no one claimed the dog after 2 weeks, so Trooper Freeman decided he needed to give it a forever home. So the trooper decided to adopt him and named him Chief.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that.
I love that. And I can't wait to be invited to your wedding. But in the meantime, right?
Oh, yeah, we got to work out some other things first.
The first dance at a wedding is something that you'll remember the rest of your life. I promise.
Normally, it's between the people getting married, Raphael, but in this case, a bride wanted to do something special with her best friend. Take a look.
Where is Dave Letterman when you need him? I mean, that is awesome. That's Sarah Devine and her dog Hero. The duo had a special wedding dance to the song Footloose.
Oh, it turns out Sarah and Hero have a special connection. They actually performed on the TV show America's Got Talent together.
That is awesome. You need Kevin Bacon, really, to come out and help.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Well, I'm going to unfortunately let you down and let you know that Gypsy and I will not be performing like that because she just ain't that kind of dog.
She'd be under the table.
Yes, exactly. She'd be hiding under probably a table next to my parents, frightened and overwhelmed.
Maybe we can get Kevin and Rory on the evening show.
There you go, yes.
Or Amanda and, is it Leo? And then Mark and Bishop.
Yeah.
Get you all together for a dog dance-off.
A flash mob.
Why not? But in the meantime, how will all those folks and pets deal today with the heat and the humidity as they prepare for their dance competition? Right on ABC. Dancing with the Stars coming this fall, by the way.
We have to get through Shark Tank first, Raphael, in July here. All right, outside right now, we are dealing with partly cloudy skies here across central Indiana. Raphael obviously had his coffee here this morning. As far as the rain goes, we've had this one storm. It's weekend July. It was a pretty heavy downpour in Terre Haute, but it's kind of been moving right along I-70, but it's been weakening. So Center Point up towards Brazil, some light rain. We've lost the lightning as well. That's going to push towards Cloverdale, and then some light rain up towards Montezuma and into the Rockville area. But that's the only shower that we have out there, and again, it's continuing to fade away. Otherwise, we have partly cloudy skies for your morning hours, and most of the morning will be dry. Once we get into the afternoon hours, though, with the peak heating of the day, the heat, the humidity that's around, we're going to start to flare up some additional storms. probably not going to have these big clusters like you see off to our west. It's going to be more of these individual storms, but nonetheless, if you do have plans this afternoon, you need to be weather aware for the potential of some heavy rainfall, some lightning, and maybe a couple of these storms could have some gusty winds. But here we are at 12:30, still we're completely dry. Once we get to the 2 o'clock hour, you notice how some of these storms start to flare up, and then they'll be with us off and on throughout the afternoon hours. Now, it is possible you go through the entire day here without a drop of rain, but for those of you that do get the rain, it is going to come down heavy. It's going to be those big tropical-like downpours, and since there's no front coming through, they could linger in your neighborhood for a little while, and as a result, there could be a little bit of localized flooding. And then any plans this evening, the storm threat will diminish quickly once the sun sets. Sunset now this evening is at 9:16. Then overnight tonight, it's pretty quiet with mostly cloudy skies. So don't let the storm threat deter you from going to the pool. Just know if there is some lightning as these storms approach, you need to get out of the pool, obviously. But it's a great pool day, lake day. Temperatures near 90 degrees here this afternoon. The UV index is very high as well. And this is what it's going to feel like. These are your heat index values, temperatures. And notice by the noon hour, when you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel already like it's about 90 degrees. We go throughout the afternoon hours, and I know there's a few 80s showing here. That's just picking up on some of the rain that's going to be building in, so don't really pay attention to the 80s, but look at these 90s. 97 is what it's going to feel like in Terre Haute as well as Bedford this afternoon, about 95 in Indianapolis, and then as we work our way into the evening hours, again, it'll start to cool off. But the Indians game should go on without a hitch this evening. While the storms start to fade, temperatures fall into the 80s. Fireworks after the game. First pitch is at 7:15, and any plans, honestly, this evening, just going to be warm and muggy, so that forecast applies for you as well. All right, let's talk about the weekend quickly. Saturday, 88. Numerous storms moving through during the afternoon hours. Not a complete washout, but a front comes through. And once that front comes through, it'll help us out on Sunday, decreasing the humidity, bringing the sunshine back. It's only about a 20% chance of an isolated storm as we head into Sunday afternoon. And then next week, a great stretch of weather. Lots of sunshine, lower humidity, but seasonable temperatures still, with temperatures that will be in the mid-80s. The time now is 6:50. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Weekdays at 9 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. It is 6:53. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Rafael Sanchez sitting in for Lauren Casey. We're working for you this Friday morning, helping you get your day started.
We have your top stories covered, and we are keeping a close eye on traffic. We do want to start things off with meteorologist Todd Clausen and this Friday forecast. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, it's another decent Friday forecast. We'll be on the lookout for some isolated storms later on this afternoon, but here's the view. This morning from downtown to the north, we have the sunshine. We still have that haze out there. That is the humidity, and that's going to be with us throughout the course of the entire day. But look how quickly we warmed this morning. Already 80 degrees by the time we get to 10 a.m. We're talking about temperatures by the time we get to the noon hour in the upper 80s and highs eventually close to 90 degrees later on this afternoon. Heat index values will be closer to 100 degrees later on today. And as far as these storms, we'll see these isolated downpours flare up after 2 p.m.
Good morning. Police are searching for whoever started 2 fires in a neighborhood earlier this week, and this is certainly rattling that community. So on Tuesday night, firefighters were called to 2 different scenes, one on Pennsylvania and the other on Talbot for porch fires. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but those living at the home on Pennsylvania were actually notified that someone was on their porch through their Ring doorbell. IFD says these fires were intentionally set, so they are cases of arson. There has been a bit of shakeup in that community. Now they are taking steps like leaving lights on and installing cameras like that Ring doorbell for extra precaution. If you know any information on these cases, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. A reminder this morning, if your neighbors are not obeying fireworks ordinances, do not call 911. Like many dispatch centers across the country, the center in Johnson County is overwhelmed with non-emergency calls this time of year. If lines are busy with firework complaints, it takes time away from true emergencies. And in those situations, minutes can be the difference between life and death. You can always call the non-emergency line instead.
As you continue to celebrate the 4th of July weekend, another reminder to think about those who served our country. Some veterans suffering from PTSD, they say that fireworks can be a trigger for them this time of year. So it's important to please follow your local ordinances when it comes to setting off those fireworks. works, and check with your neighbors to make sure that they are okay with your display.
Police are looking for the people who robbed a cell phone store at gunpoint. These are surveillance pictures from the T-Mobile store on North Town Center Road in Mooresville, where the robbery happened Wednesday afternoon. Investigators say 2 suspects forced the employees and a customer to a back room where they cleaned out a safe and cash registers. The robbers were seen leaving in a silver 4-door car with temporary paper plates driven by a woman. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. Alyssa.
Foodborne illnesses are easier to contract this time of year, according to health officials. That's because more people are grilling outside, and the warmer weather makes it easier for bacteria to grow in your food. That's why health officials are recommending you be careful with food handling, especially when grilling outside. Make sure you're cleaning all your surfaces, separating meats and vegetables, and cooking those meats at the correct temperature. Now, if you do get food poisoning and you get a fever that goes up to 102 degrees, that's when you need to see a doctor.
All right, thanks, Alyssa. It's warm. It's muggy here this morning. We're in the 70s currently, mid-80s by the noon hour, highs near 90 degrees. Anytime after about 2 o'clock this afternoon, storms will start to blossom across the area. Heavy downpours, likely on an isolated basis. Some lightning mixed in as well. As far as the rest of your weekend forecast, storms are a little more numerous tomorrow, at least compared to today. And then a nice stretch of weather starts on Monday with lower humidity. Lots of sunshine and temperatures still seasonable there in the mid-80s.
All right, Todd, thank you, and thank you for joining us. Raphael, thanks for joining us. We've had a lot of fun these past 2 days.
What a great couple of days. Lauren is back. Elena's back. The entire team is back on Monday.
He may be back, too. Monday. Who knows? We'll just have to tune in and see. We hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.